If we are not healthy mentally, what next? Normally we talk about the health. Health means physical, mental, and spiritual. It has three layers. When we say Indian Ayurveda talks about and strongly recommends ahar vihar, that's what dietary discipline and the routine of ours. These are the two fundamental areas. If we control, we discipline them, we will become physically, mentally, and to a great extent, spiritually healthy also. But spiritual, the mental health, there's a different dimension. I will come to that point especially. Similar thoughts are from Francis Bacon, who was a very great scientist, philosopher, and the father of English essay in the 16th century. His books like Advancement of Learning, Novum Organum, and the Essence, he talks about in his essay that is called, entitled Regiment of Health. Regiment comes from the Greek word regime, means management of health. How to maintain health. He's talking about the physical and mental only, not spirituality, because he could not explore that dimension. Again, like Ayurveda, he also repeats the same thing: diet, sleep, and exercise. Ahar vihar. Diet, sleep, and exercise. If you can discipline, if you can control, if you are very much meticulous and planned in these three areas, you will enjoy a happy life. You will enjoy happy, that's called a healthy body, healthy mind. I always say I am the happiest man of this university because I enjoy the best health, physical, mental, as well as spiritual. As well as material conditions are also there. There are so many conditions which influence our health also. It may be society, it may be the material progress, it may be the scientific innovations and your involvement, your achievements, you are scaling greater heights in your life. There are so many things collectively contribute to develop your mental health also. But specifically, because all of you are, and this is the department psychology, and they have arranged this program on mental health. I will begin with Sigmund Freud, who was not only a doctor but a great researcher. What is his finding about human health? Anyone from the students? What is the finding of Sigmund Freud about human health? Man is sick, not villainous. Man is sick, not villainous. आदमी बीमार है, बुरा नहीं. Sick means this sickness, this is a mental sickness is talking about. How this mental sickness develops? What is the cause of this mental sickness? We all are suffering. And there are so many literary texts, the plays, for example, Hamlet, Macbeth, the novels like Alice Walker's The Color Purple, and Henry Ibsen's Norwegian Bride, The Doll's House. D.H. Lawrence, who is the father of psychological novel, Sons and Lovers, deals with the Oedipus complex. There are so many complexes in our mind, and the study of complexes is also very much helpful to mitigate, to reduce that level of, that's called the mental illness. And there is a very famous book by J. Morris. It is entitled that How to Use Your Complexes. How to use your complexes. It talks about more than 100 complexes that we suffer from. Unless we overcome these complexes, they become a burden experience for us. Now, Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud says this is finding of his study on the patients. He has studied the patients not like a doctor but like a researcher. His finding was that the problem, the root cause of the illness or the ill health is psychological. And you can experience, you can notice very clearly, there are thousands of ambitions, thousands of fantasies, dreams, ambitions, aspirations, plans in your life. How can, or how much of them can be fulfilled? Few. For example, if you have 100 dreams, okay, this is hypothetical, 100 dreams. If one dream is fulfilled, 99 dreams which are unfulfilled, your unfulfilled desires, ambitions, fantasies, what happens to them? Whether they die, they do not die. Rather, they are shifted to subconscious mind, of Chaitanya. They are shifted to subconscious mind. And this shifting and accumulation or the suppression. He talks about suppression. This accumulation becomes in a long term very heavy, very burdensome. This accumulation becomes the cause of your mental ill health. That is called your whole personality becomes distorted personality. We all are having distorted personality. We are not in a sound personality, healthy mental or physical conditions. Then how to resolve this issue, how to come out of, how to go beyond that, overcome this problem of suppression that is causing mental ill health and distorting the whole personality of ours. Sublimation, involvement in creative actions. We're doing something that pleases you. Similarly, if you go back to ancient Greece, some 600 before Common Era, we have the gifted writers, top class, which we call the classical writers, like Homer, Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, Sappho, Pindar, the most celebrated writers. Later in the 3rd century, before Common Era, Aristotle got all these texts. He studied as a scholar and a researcher. And he gave a theory of catharsis in his famous book, Poetics. What is the theory of catharsis? It is exactly through tragic performance. I'm trying to explain how the art and literature can be helpful to outlet what is suppressed in your subconscious mind. How literature becomes a medium. Have you ever thought why literature appeals to us too much? Have you ever thought? Simply entertaining. This is the very immediate purpose of literature, entertainment. Or the superficial appeal of literature is entertainment. What is the deeper purpose of that?
To teach.
Yes?
To teach.
Teaching is okay. That is the social aspect, okay? But why literature matters? What is the purpose of that connection? Or what is the result of that connection? What is the result of that? Since you are watching the performance, okay, you have seen that short movie on the screen. While that student was suffering from depressed condition, okay, if he goes to the extreme stage, hypothetically, in any movie, cuts the hands, okay, and dies after some time. What kind of emotion is evoked in your mind? There is the evocation, arousal of emotion, rasotpatti and raswadan. Literature aims at that. Entertainment is okay. Common readers, they will enjoy Chetan Bhagat's novels, okay, where fun and change, that is the objective of all the novels of Chetan Bhagat. If you go to the serious kinds of literature, for example, tragic performance, okay, Greek tragedy, Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, that is the most celebrated Greek tragedy. In tragedy, you know, there are the tragic events, tragic plots are there. Hero who is very heroic, still he suffers despite his heroism and the positive traits of the personality because of some flaws in the personality. And that kind of suffering of the hero, that is unmerited suffering beyond all proportions. It is not the hero who suffers in the performance because he is a professional artist. For shedding tears, he is getting money for that. He is using the glycerin and other devices. But it is the audience you like. For example, I am here like a hero, like a protagonist. Whatever I am speaking is meant for you all. Similarly, the dramatic performance or literary expressions, each kind of expression, each kind of performance, everything, the plot, character, thought, diction, song, spectacle, that the stage setting, light, everything, it is targeted to the audience. And all these elements, they collectively work. They collaborate to create cathartic effect, to arouse, that's called the rasotpatti and raswadan. Aristotle and Bharat Muni, Nakishas, they talk about the evocation or arousing of emotions. What is the purpose behind that? The important thing is, as he said, the connection. It connects. But what is the purpose? What is the outcome of that connection? D.H. Lawrence, who was a very great psychological novelist as well as highly researcher, he says literature matters. That's the psychological response. Okay, there's a utility on the psychological level. He says literature is very important because it satisfies our appetencies. You know, appetency. Higher Richards has used epithets means emotional hunger, bhavnatmak bhook. Human mind is full of, you will always notice, full of contradictory emotions and thoughts. You can never enjoy the peace of mind. All the time your conscious mind is working. Working means contradictory or the conflicting emotions and thoughts, they are going on. And we have the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Chaucer. He has established the theory of differentials. He said it is not only language. Everywhere in life there are differentials. Binary oppositions are there. This is called relational. And the systematic, in a systematic way, these thoughts and emotions, they are contradictory emotions. Our mind is full of, just make an experiment. Sit whenever you have time for 5 minutes only in a dark room, okay? Don't do anything. And just notice what kind of thoughts and emotions are going on in your mind. You will notice and you will be surprised. At one moment, your mind is reflecting the images of this hall, Howard Hall. Very next moment, fraction of second, your mind will change and move to the another kind of image that is about the hostel. Next, about the library. Next, about the classroom. Contradictory emotions. You might be thinking about just befooling someone. Next moment, you're helping someone. Contradictory binary oppositions are everywhere. Literature matters because literature is like a moderator, coolant that cools down your contradictory emotions. It takes you to the tranquility and the peace of the mind. This is one purpose of literature. That is the psychological response of ideas and the critics also. Now, I will come to Indian classical literature. And Bharatmuti Natyashas, it was approximately 200 before Common Era or 200. He wrote Natyashas. Natyashas talks about 8 rasas, art ras. Later on, one more, that is Santras, Quietism was added by Anandavardhan. That means we have the theory of Nauras, 9 sentiment, and 33 that is called auxiliary sentiment. In the Western theory, they do not make distinction between sentiment and emotion. They take them as synonyms, sometimes even the passion. Sentiment, emotion, the passion, they don't make any distinction. They use as synonyms. But according to Indian politics, sentiment means I bhav. No ras, they are the permanent. 33 are there for the emotion. That was sanchari bhav. The mind, the emotion moves in the mood. The question is, the example is drama. So that is the best example for you to understand how literature matters for all of us and how it can bring calmness of mind and the mental health. And that leads towards elevation and transcendentalism, spirituality. There's a connection. Physical, mental, and spiritual. Rus theory exactly is not merely the arousal of emotion. Rather, it creates, that's the greatest contribution of Rus theory. It creates universal aesthetic experience. Always remember, universal aesthetic experience, which has been introduced in the West by Immanuel Kant, who gave the theory of beauty. He said, disinterested pleasure. Pleasure exactly is very much biased because our pleasure, our reactions are very much governed by our liking, dislikings, and the biases and limitations. Unless we are unbiased, disinterested, we cannot move to that level. We cannot experience that is called universal aesthetic experience. I will explain it briefly. When you watch the performance, okay, this short movie, for example, it was about, for example, that a person goes to the extreme level of disgust, emotional disgust. And all of you have different kind of interpretations, different kind of liking and disliking. You have their own limitations in your choices. But since you are engaged in watching the performance, either it's a videographic version or actual dramatic performance, what happens? Gradually, when the action moves forward, This is called the principle of suspension of disbelief. You forget that we are the audience or the spectators, and that is a dramatic performance. Gradually, we forget this, and we go on assimilating our whole personality into the personality of the hero or some other characters. This is called Sadharanikaran Siddhanta in Indian poetics. Means whatever happens to the hero, it happens to us. In tragedy, it targets two emotions, emotion of pity and the emotion of fear. Because according to the Greeks, these are the two very powerful emotions. They control human personality, human mental makeup. Otherwise, according to medieval medical science, there are four humors. Sometimes the mental health is governed by the pathological issues also. According to medieval medical science, there are four humors. Ayurveda says Vat, Pitta and Kapha. Medieval medical science here says added four elements. They're called humor. Humor means they're like a fluid in the human body. Blood, phlegm, choler, and melancholy. Melancholy or this kind of depression is very much caused by melancholy, that kind of fluid. If these four fluids are or humors are in proper proportion in the human body, our physical and mental health is very sound. If any of the humor or the fluid develops more than proportion, the problem comes. That becomes the mental problem. Now, the performance when it begins, we gradually assimilate ourselves. We forget that we are the audience and watching this performance. That is purely kind of drama. No more drama. This is called by, according to Natyashastra, Drishya Kavya. Poetry that we witness on the stage, as well as Rupak. This is called metaphor. You have ever noticed in drama there are so many characters. Hero is there, protagonist, heroine is there, villain is there, vamp is there, joker is there, clown is there, serpents are there. So many characters. Why? Why not one character? Why not one character? What is the purpose behind the incorporation of so many characters from different professions, from different sections of the society, so that the message or the impression is given to you very clearly. Here is the whole human society, and you are the part and parcel of this human society. And whatever happening to the society is happening to you. Here, this is called the principle of Sadharanikaran or identification. You do not remain away or isolated from the performance. That's why drama is the most effective form of literature. There is a direct connect. We were talking about the connect. Direct link between the audience, their mind, and whatever is performed on the stage. Either it may be videographic version, cinema is the videographic adaptation of that, or it may be the actual performance through the professional artist. They are the artists only, because drama is an art of impersonation. Art of impersonation. The person who is playing the role of Hanumanji is not Hanumanji. We impersonate some other characters. But the important thing is the impact, the appeal, the outcome of that performance. Since you are connected with that, Greek tragedy targets two emotions, emotion of pity and emotion of fear. How the emotion of pity is to be evoked in the audience. The technique that they use is by the undeserved suffering. We identify casually with the hero. Hero is not different from us. It is the externalization of the hero that is within us. We all have the hero within us. And we identify ourselves with the hero that is on the stage. That's why when the hero suffers, undeserved sufferings. In Oedipus the Rex by Sophocles, Oedipus, when he is yet to born, he is on the home of the mother. There is a prediction that he is destined to kill his father one day, and he is destined to marry with his mother one day. There is shocking disclosure to the parents. The very moment the king and the queen, the parents, they decide to kill the baby when he is born. Just see, that's why I call it prenatal suffering of the hero. He's yet to born, he's in the home of the mother, but the parents are planning to kill the baby. Undeserved suffering, prenatal suffering of the hero. Later on, because there is a role of the fate of the nemesis, anyhow, he suffers, and his suffering is undeserved suffering. He doesn't deserve that because he kills his father unknowingly in the story. He marries with his real mother and have 4 children unknowingly, which has been later on exploited by D.H. Lawrence in his famous novel Sons and Lovers. This is called the mother fixation. Male child is fixed with the mother. Paul is the hero of Sons and Lovers. He is fixed emotionally and to a great extent physically also with the mother. This is called Oedipus complex. Opposite of that is Electra complex. When the daughter is fixed with the father. We have Euripides, the Greek tragedy writer, he will use that complex. Literally we discuss that nowadays either this called Sigmund Freud or the Dr. Ernest Jung, they all have studied and explored, they have analyzed those classical texts from these perspectives. Okay? Now, emotion is pretty arose. When the hero is suffering without any reason, unknowingly he goes into sinful acts later on, very severe kind of punishment he means. It means from our eyes, the tears come out in a very natural, in a very spontaneous manner. Always remember, these tears are the connecting points. Tears are not merely salty water. Tears are the medium to let out what is suppressed in our subconscious mind. Just see the role of tragic performance. The Greek people, very intelligent people, very futuristic people. For a common audience, it was a means of entertainment. Performance means because that was based on the Theban legends, most popular in ancient Greece, next only to Trojan legends. They were enjoying the performance because they were already familiar with the legends of the royal family of Ithaca. But for the elite class, like all of you, the educated person, it was not merely a means of entertainment. Rather, it has a deeper structure. What is that? Since you are shedding tears, even when you watch the movie, there are certain scenes when the hero and the young kids they are beaten by the villains, you start shedding tears. This shedding of tears, that is a very natural process. It comes out in a very spontaneous manner. And always remember, these tears are the medium to let out what is suppressed in your subconscious mind. Second emotion, that is the emotion of fear. Because in tragedy or even in comedy, there is a point. In each story, there are 3 stages: beginning, middle, and the end. Middle means the climax. In tragedy, that's called the crisis. In comedy, complication. Crisis means because in a story, as in your life, there are the good people and the bad people. The concept of the hero and the villain comes from your thoughts. Always remember, hero and the villain and multiple characters, they are the manifestation of your multiple thoughts and their chemistry. For example, who is the hero? It is the externalization of good thoughts. They say in Christianity called the good angel. We say Devta. And who is the villain? The externalization of the bad thoughts. They contradict. This is called exactly the conflict. Without conflict, life is not possible. Without conflict, story is not possible. It is the conflict that leads the story towards the climax, to the higher planes. Now, since hero and the villain, they are there. Villain may be an individual, it may be a group of individuals, it may be the faction, it may be the political system. Sometimes it may be the whole social structure. He was talking about certain myths. Exactly, they are not myths exactly. They are the part of the program. What kind of program? That's called patriarchal structure and the sexist philosophy. Sexist philosophy to impose superiority of the man and the subordination of the women. They are a part of the program. Deliberately it has been designed throughout the world. Okay. Then fear means at the moment of crisis when the hero and the villain they will come vis-a-vis, face to face. Obviously, you see in the Bollywood movies, hero and the villain they come to fight. This is the physical as well as the ideological fight. Since we have identified ourselves with the hero, obviously, villain is projected as more powerful, as Mahabharata. All the time we are full of apprehensions, doubts that Arjun can be killed by either Karna, Dronachar, Kripachar, and many of the Bhishma Pitama. And there are many more like Ashwasthama. Great Maharathis are there. Arjun is no match as far as he is compared with the Bhishma Pitama, Karna, and Dronachar. He himself admits this many times. That means life of the hero is in danger.
And we have the emotional excitement, that is the climax, that the worst may happen to the hero. Crisis means that point, the middle point of the story, the worst may happen to the hero. At that moment, we are full of excitement, full of fear, full of apprehension. That is also that moment is also the moment of letting out whatever is suppressed in our subconscious mind. That's why Greek tragedy, I often see Greek, I have also written one essay paper on that. Patanjali Yoga Darshan and catharsis in Aristotle's politics. They are meant to bring cathartic effect, to produce, that's called the sublimation of thoughts. What Patanjali Yoga Darshan, second sutra says, yoga chitta vritti nirodham. We have to eliminate the disturbing thoughts from the mind. Unless we bring calmness, tranquility, peace, that is also the role of literature, we cannot enjoy mental health. For the mental health, that is called Santaras. Santaras is very important. Santaras doesn't mean only the equanimity, the peace of the mind. It gradually leads towards spirituality. Unless your mind is calm, tranquil, you cannot enter into spirituality. Always remember. Since literature, similarly the dance also, there was a beautiful dance presented by a student, okay? What is the purpose of dance? When we just think about Tandav dance of Lord Shiva, what kind of emotion is evoked in your mind? Tandav represents anger. And simultaneously, on the contrary, we have the last dance of Parvati. What is the purpose of that? What kind of emotion is aroused in your mind? Last dance of Parvati. Erotica, Singar, prema, tender feelings, all the classical dances in India, all the classical literature and their multiple forms, they have common objectives. That is called Rasodpatti and Raswada. Arousal of emotions. In Indian classical literature, there is no concept of tragedy or comedy. No varieties in literature. All are comedy simply because we don't have any tragic happening or the tragic end of any Indian story, any Indian drama. I just say Kalidas, Abhijam, Sakuntala, we can utilize because they are built upon a different theory. It's called Ras theory. And the purpose of Ras theory is to evoke different kind of emotions through plot, through the events, through character, through dialogue, through language, through stage setting, and through dance performances with the help of the Sutradhara, the comments made by the Sutradhara chorus. That's why this Rasotpatti, multiple rasas, either the major one, the Sthayi Bhav or the Sanchari Bhav, they all are targeted to your mind. All dramatic performances in ancient Greece, they are targeted to bring some positive change. That's why the term catharsis is the most talked about, most controversial term in the Western world. It was Aristotle who in his book Poetics has created this term catharsis. Literally catharsis means elimination of disturbing organism from the mind. How it can be? We talk about Sigmund Freud. He talks about sublimation. Unless we involve ourselves in the sublimation, the creative process, we cannot filter subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is like a remote control. We all are governed by subconscious mind. Whatever is suppressed, all our unfulfilled desires, fantasies, dreams, they are suppressed, accumulated for a longer time. They becomes burdensome, very heavy to our mind, our conscious mind. We are controlled. That's why India is a very rich country. We have Patanjali Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, many more types of techniques we have evolved, and their purpose is one and one only, to bring mental purification. Catharsis, literally in English, it has been translated as purgation, purification, sublimation, or the filtration of the mind. And Yoga Darshan, second sutra, also talks in a similar way. Unless we filter the mind, we cannot enjoy good mental health. Even the word action, it is defined as it comprises all kinds of deeds, physical, mental, and the spiritual. In drama, when we talk about drama is a story in action. What is the meaning of action? All kinds of deeds, physical, mental, and the spiritual. if you have interest to study and go into the detailed psychic analysis, Hamlet by William Shakespeare is a finest example. In the novel H. Lawrence Sons and Lovers is another classic example, and it is recently that was a novel by Vladimir Nabokov, Lolita. Have you heard Lolita? And we have the new complex, Lolita complex. An old person, just this is based on the sex deviance. Most of the talented people, more than 80% talented people, they are sex deviant. And there is an old man who is crazy for the young girls. And on that perverted psychology, the entire novel is built upon by Vladimir Nabokov, and it was given a Nobel Prize. Because that talks about the mental ill health of an old man who represents European man, an old man. Okay. Now, I will also talk some other issues. Now, the question is how we must go or enjoy good health, good mental health. You have control your discipline, diet and routine, and yoga and meditation. That is the ultimate remedy for your good health, mental health. Yoga and meditation, they are the greatest contribution from India to the entire humanity. Entire humanity is benefited by that. That's why on 21st June every year, throughout the world, we celebrate International Yoga Day. Yoga is not meant for any specific community or the religious ethnic groups. It is meant for the whole humanity. Indian scholars, rishis, they were the highly futuristic people. They were always thinking about the betterment of the human race, not Hindus only. There is not a word in that is called in the Patanjali Yoga Darshan, the word Hindu or the God. Nothing. It gives you a discipline, a rigorous discipline. If you follow the discipline, you will have the result. If you are not having the result, it means you are not following the discipline founded by, that's called Patanjali, because that Patanjali is the scientist of spirituality, and that is the only text that is called the text of spirituality. That doesn't talk about God, doesn't talk about the power of the God. It gives you the discipline. This is a kind of application. How you can follow, how you can move forward and achieve that stage where it is not only the mental health, because that is the initial condition. Unless you purify your mind, cool down, eliminate all the disturbing organism from your mind, you cannot move forward. You cannot go into spirituality. That's why your body, mind, and the soul, even the dance, all these three are in an equilibrium balance. Dance, all the classical dances, they have very strict and rigorous grammar, very strict grammar, well-defined grammar, and that grammar is meant, that's called the structure of that dance is to bring balance between body, mind, and soul. That's why you can also practice any kind of classical dance. That can be a very creative process for sublimation of whatever is suppressed in your subconscious mind. Multiple ways are there. Pranayama, 50 types of pranayams are there. Multiple modes of the techniques of active meditation are there in each and every religion. Don't say, oh, better say Allahu Akbar. You must follow in a very strict manner. And we may say, Om Mani Padme Om, in different categories, or Om Namah Shivaya. Multiple types of active meditation techniques are there. But finally, all these active techniques are meant for purification of the mind. Thereafter, you have to move for that's called inactive meditation, Niskri Dhyan, for which you have to surrender completely. That is no any other way. You have to melt your ego, sit calmly, and move forward. You will enjoy not only the mental health, highest level of spiritual health. That is called leading towards perfection. That is called from man to superman. Man to superman. Now, there were certain observations by our previous speakers. For example, when we talk about venting, now I think it's clear, venting, it may be through other objects like drama. Hero is playing the role of shedding tears, suffering. It is your emotions they are outlet.
They are expressed through the other character, through other, that's called objective correlatives. Your emotions are related and they are objectified with other mediums. It is quite possible. Indian art or art worldwide is a medium for that. Through art you can. You must listen songs. If you cannot sing the songs, at least you can listen the song. That takes you towards from melodious romantic songs towards poetism. Why Sundarkand is so popular among Hindus? Because Sundarkand, Tulsidas Sundarkand, takes us towards poetism, santras, towards spirituality, towards that's called the divine. It links with the divine powers. Okay. Otherwise, yoga and meditation, at least for you, active meditation is imminent. At least for each day. You must have the dietary discipline. You must control your routine also. Often you can say, sir, this is the time of technology. Okay, we are born with the mobile. We are born with the technology. Not only internet. Internet has become very, very old-fashioned technology. Now we are moving towards metaverse, and it is your avatar that you go into the virtual world, go for shopping, gaming, and purchasing, and you are paying with the cryptocurrency, with the Bitcoin or the Solana and Ethereum, and then both currencies over there. And Elon Musk has also created new mobile phone that's called linked the Neuralink technology. If you are mentally impaired, cannot listen, cannot see, a small chip is inserted in your brain and your mobile is linked with that. If you will think, what do you think? Devotional song, simple thinking, it will start. And either it is BSNL, Jio, Airtel, they are creating trouble for you as far as internet connection is concerned. And Starlink, that is a project of Elon Musk that will give you fast internet connectivity through satellites. You are entering into the era of the technology. You cannot ignore technology, but you should know how to use technology in a very judicious manner. In a very judicious manner that is useful for you. Otherwise, AI, they are there. You should know how to use, at what level, to what extent you have to use the AI for your either the assignments, for your project writing, for your study material, and the presentation also. It saves time also, but you must know how to use them. Okay, these are some important things. And there was one observation made by our expert. Once Aristotle was asked, if you have two options, the life of a pig, you have seen the pig all the time eating or the sleeping, nothing else, or the man whose life is full of conflicts, frustrations, depression, which life, which option you would choose? Aristotle opted for man. He says, pig who all the time goes on eating or sleeping is a part of their destiny. It is his destiny. He has no options. He has no opportunities. His life is not full of challenges, but the life of the man is full of challenges. If we are full of frustrations, conflicts, time will come when we will overcome this mental ill health, then we will enjoy new opportunities, new the vista of knowledge, and we will enjoy that has been given by God. Multiple opportunities are there. That's why you must also choose the life of a man rather than the life of a pig. Okay, thank you. I would like to thank Professor Mishraji, the department colleagues, organizers, and the experts, as well as the students. If you have any query or a question, the suggestion I'm here, then I will leave this place. I think to some extent you have got the idea how literature can become an important antidote to bring mental health. You know, how it connects and what is the use of this connection and how to this connection. Thank you.